Take the burden to God. Man in many ways is a bearer of burdens. He seems to have a strong appeal to carry loads and burdens. This can be noticed from a child with his insatiable desire to lift and carry things. Man often loves without knowing that he loves, and, little as he suspects it, he is deeply in love with his load, writes Frank Borum. This appears to be contrary to reality, yet it is the truth. But it was not God's design that we should carry our burdens all by ourselves. Even the strongest man, with the broadest chest and well-built muscles, will grow weary from every burden. With the passing of time, one can become weakened with one's burdens. And that is why God, out of His compassion and care for us, will always encourage us to take our burdens to Him. God is a gentleman. His desires for us can never be coerced. He doesn't force His preferences on His children. Rather, He gives each one of us the privilege of a choice to seek His assistance. The implication of this is that He will not force out of anyone's hands or shoulders their burdens. He will patiently wait for you with your burdens to call or come to Him. Does this mean He is not concerned about what you are going through? Not at all. He cares about you far much more than you can imagine. Yet, He respects your choices and decisions. Many people are smarting under the weight of their burdens for so many reasons. While some believe that it is their lot in this world, others believe they deserve the load on their shoulders as a punishment for something they must have probably done. Whatever the reason for the weight weighing you down, you do not have to carry this burden all alone. There's a God who loves you and is willing to help you carry the things you are encumbered with. Do not keep suffering alone. Silence in the face of a burdensome situation is not the right way to go about things. It is not spiritual to suffer alone and in silence. In Psalm 18 verse 6, the psalmist taught us what our response should be when we are pressed down by our burdens. In my distress, I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. From His temple He heard my voice. My cry came before Him, into His ears. New International Version. To take your burden to the Lord is to cry out to God. It may look like a sign of weakness, yet it is the proper way of expressing that you have no strength of your own. Rather, your strength comes from the Lord Almighty. Do not be ashamed of telling God exactly what you are burdened under. God cannot be deceived. He recognizes the cries of His children that comes from the depths of their helplessness. In addition to crying out to God, there is a need to name your burden to God exactly as it is. By now, you must have understood that God is aware of what you are going through, yet He wants you to name it. So, go ahead and call it by its name. Is your burden an addiction to pornography or masturbation or sex or alcohol or cigarette? Is your marriage on the verge of breaking down because you have not been a faithful wife or husband, or vice versa? Are your grades in school falling apart probably because you have not dedicated so much time to your studies? Do you find yourself in a situation where your finances are not forthcoming? Are you suffering from an ailment that have eluded medical diagnosis or defied treatment? Whatever the burdens are, mention it to God, call it by its name. You must learn to depend on the Holy Spirit even as you cry out to God in prayers. As humans, we have limitations. But thanks to God who has given us a helper who not only tells us how to go about expressing our heartfelt burdens to God, but also speaks to God on our behalf. The Bible makes it expressly clear with these words. In the same way, the Spirit comes to us and helps us in our weakness. We do not know what prayer to offer or how to offer it as we should, but the Spirit Himself knows our need and at the right time intercedes on our behalf with sighs and groanings too deep for words. Romans 8 verse 26, Amplified Bible. Our consolation lies in the fact that the Holy Spirit is there when we have been weakened by our burdens to strengthen us. He is there when we are unsure about how to pray. Even when the words are lacking to express the feelings and turmoil in our souls, He is there to speak for us and carry our burdens to God's understanding and loving heart. Another way of taking your burdens to God is by sharing them with others. It is a well-known adage that a problem shared is a problem half solved. But beyond that, the lifter of your burdens may just be that next person you share them with. God has a way of making our paths meet with those who are the solution to our problems in life. There is also that relief that comes when you have the opportunity to share or pour out your heart to listening ears. You must trust God to hear Him correctly before you share your burdens. Also, be rest assured that God did not design you to carry your burdens alone. There are people He has placed around your life who can identify with what you are going through and encourage you to freedom and succor. Never underestimate the power of keeping around you fervent friends. Even if these people cannot solve your problems, they will encourage you to keep your eyes on the one who can. Beware of Job's wives in your life. It is a known fact that when you are carrying something that is beyond you, you look for someone stronger to help you. For us, that stronger person is God. Taking your burdens to God is an absolute acknowledgement of His power to rescue, help, save, and deliver. There is nothing that you will walk into or carry that is beyond what God can handle. There are no impossibilities with Him. When you come to your wit's end, be constantly reminded that He is always able. That is exactly what the Apostle Paul was talking about in Ephesians 1 verses 19 to 20 when he said, "I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe Him. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead and seated Him in the place of honor at God's right hand in the heavenly places." New Living Translation. In conclusion, as you take your burdens to God, have faith that it will be taken care of. Whatever is placed in God's care is safe and secured. It doesn't make sense for you to hand over something to God today and return the next day to get it back. Take your burdens to God and leave it there.